friends, and welcome to the Ed Show from Minneapolis tonight. Less than 24 hours before the final Senate vote on the health care bill, here we have President Obama. I think he's wordsmithing. He told the Washington Post, quote, "I didn't campaign on the public option." Progressives are furious at this hour. They feel like they've been duped. The Progressive Change Campaign Committee released this ad today.
Any plan I sign must include an insurance exchange, including a public option to increase competition and keep insurance companies honest.
If a mandate was the solution, we could try that to solve homelessness by mandating everybody buy a house. The reason they don't have a house is they don't have the money.
The Progressive Change Campaign Committee is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Joining me now is Adam Green, the co-founder of the Progressive Change Campaign Committee, and you can find them at boldprogressives.org. Adam, I have to ask you a personal question tonight. You don't have to answer it, but okay, I'm in my 50s. I'm not going to tell you exactly how old I am. But are you in your 20s or 30s? I don't want to make a point on this tonight.
I'm in my mid-30s.
You're in your mid-30s. My friend, It doesn't matter. Whether you're in your 20s or your 30s, this, Americans, this is exactly who put Barack Obama and the progressive movement in the majority in the last election. Let's not forget that. And if we don't put up the fight, if we don't hold folks accountable, we stand to lose a demographic of Americans that believed in hope, believed in fight, and were never told about Senate purchasing of votes and special backdoor deals with corporations. So I think it's very important that we know who we're talking about here. The 20-somethings and the 30-somethings right now are sitting on the fence, in my opinion, in this country saying, what? What's going on here? All right, Mr. Green, good to have. Well, if you want to follow up, maybe you disagree with me. What do you think?
Now, I do agree with you. And, you know, one thing that we're experiencing is that there's this visceral sense of betrayal felt by a lot of young people right now, by a lot of everyday voters, independents and Democrats, and a lot of the people who worked hardest to get President Obama elected. You know, there can be no doubt that when people went to the polls in November 2008, they thought they were electing change you can believe in. They thought they were electing a guy who said that he would not let insurance industry lobbyists write the rules, that he would stand up for the little guy against these entrenched special interests. And what we saw this week was essentially, you know, the ditching of the most popular part of healthcare reform, the part that would truly hold these big interests accountable, the public option. And Democrats are applauding themselves for passing, you know, something that has 33% approval rating, which is a mandate requiring that we buy these broken insurance policies. So you're right.
Adam,
this is time for accountability.
Yeah, Adam, why do you think the president even gave that quote in an interview to the Washington Post? It sounds rather defensive to me. I never campaigned on the public option. It's like he's catching a lot of heat and wants to redirect the interest of Americans and the attention somewhere else, like this is really not a big deal. I never campaigned on it. What do you make of that?
Yeah, you know, I think you've put your finger on it on prior shows, which is this D.C. bubble. I think a lot of people in the White House have a checklist, and they have either a W or an L for win or loss next to some line item. And they don't actually, I think they're losing a little bit of touch with what people are actually feeling. I had a fascinating conversation just a couple nights ago with a former Obama team leader on the ground in Wisconsin, the heartland. She was responsible for a bunch of volunteers during the campaign. She said, you know, we worked our tails off. We beat our vote goals. And what motivated people every day to get up for Barack Obama was we thought he was on our side, fighting for us. And she said, let me tell you, I am on Russ Feingold's steering committee right now. I'm in charge of organizing volunteers for him. And it is really hard to motivate people to go out there and campaign for Democrats right now when Democrats in Washington, D.C. are throwing the public option under the bus and seeming to side with corporate interests. That's not change we can believe in. And this will have a dramatic impact on 2010.
Adam, tell us what you're doing in Wisconsin. You're putting pressure the last 24 hours on Russ Feingold to vote no tomorrow morning. What are you doing?
Right. Well, actually, You know, our main goal is to get him to promise right now that he will vote no on any bill that comes out of the House Senate negotiations if there is not a public health insurance option. What are we doing? Several things. We are organizing people like this lady I just talked about in his home state to speak out. There's been a ton of media coverage the last couple days of these local people speaking out, encouraging him to be a hero. We're doing robocalls into Wisconsin, organizing other people to join our fight and go to yeswestillcan.org and sign our petition to these leaders saying we need them to fight. And we're also doing online ads and other tactics. It's time to organize the grassroots and make sure Democrats don't go into this blindly thinking that, you know, Democrats aren't paying attention on the ground. This will really hurt Democrats in 2010 if we ditch the public option. We need to pass it.
Thank you, Adam Green. Appreciate your time tonight. All the best to you.